106.3 Beach FM.
My pleasure now to welcome the Deputy Mayor of the Kapiti Coast, Janet Bolborow. Good morning and welcome to...
Good morning, John.
I particularly wanted to talk to you about the sculpture, which I believe is about to be erected behind the hoardings at Mclean Park, the wonderful Tahora surfacing. You must be thrilled with this.
Absolutely. This artwork's been something that has been underway for maybe 4 or 5 years, and it's been run by the Public Art Panel and the council staff. What the Public Art Panel really loved about this proposal, which was one of a few proposals that came about as a result of some community consultation about what people wanted, the kind of themes people wanted, and what they particularly liked about this proposal was that it really understood the wider picture of the park and the park management plan and what was going to be going on. And it also provided opportunity for some of the design elements of the sculpture to be also expressed elsewhere in the park. And you can see that with some of the development that's happened already, and there are further opportunities for that in the future as well. Now, it's a sculpture that doesn't look particularly mind-boggling on paper, but it's going to have lighting elements and sound elements, so it'll be a whole arts experience. And it's based around the concept of journeying. And that came from the community consultation that was done, which, including extensive consultation with iwi, which identified 2 main themes that were important in the area to people. And by far the most important thing was whales. People were really interested in the history of whales and how there used to be particularly a lot of southern right whales around the area. And then also the story of Akahirotarangi, who was the person who swam with a baby on her back from Kapiti Island to the mainland, which also fits around the idea of journeying. So the sculpture, it's quite an abstract form, but it tries to encompass those 2 elements with the idea of journeying integrated with the whale song and the general kind of maritime and cultural environment. So it's a really exciting work, and I just can't wait to see it. It's just going to just top off that area of the park just beautifully, and also subtly, so it's quite a horizontal sculpture, so it won't interfere with the views of the island or be too dominating in the landscape. So it's just a wonderful piece by Kiriyama Taipa.
Well, that's a wonderful summation of it. It's a very large piece, isn't it? It's almost 10 metres long, I believe. How high is it?
So it doesn't come very high off the ground at all. From my memory of the pictures, it doesn't rise more than about 1 metre off the ground. So it's mainly the length of it that's impressive. And it's been a while since I've seen the concept drawings, so I'm kind of waiting for it to be a bit of a surprise to see how it looks in the end. But certainly we had some pretty high-powered professionals on the arts panel who chose that work. So, yeah, I'm really excited to see it. It's going to be amazing. And, yeah, the 10 metres long is kind of it's appropriate with it being a whale.
Yes, it is.
Depiction of a whale, very abstract depiction of a whale.
Well, I'm having a look at some renditions of it now, and as it's been in gestation for so long, is it possible that this design has influenced the way the Kapiti, or rather the Mclean Park, the new Mclean Park is evolving? I've just got a feeling that this may be the genesis of some of the ideas that we're now seeing sprouting.
Yes, I think it's worked both ways. So the community consultation that was done around the park redevelopment and some of the ideas people wanted in the central pathway and this idea of a journey through the park influenced the artist. And then by extension, the artist has now influenced some of the design elements and the kind of way the park is being expressed. Yeah. And he's worked really closely with the park's management team. They've had a lot to do with each other. And also iwi have been heavily involved through the whole process because, of course, that area is of just particular and profound importance to local iwi.
Wonderful. Now, there may be a building not too very far away from that sculpture, the destination point for Kapiti Island, and I think some people are suggesting it's got other functions as well. I believe there's a vote on what's turned out to be a somewhat controversial project on Thursday. What's your position on this, Janet?
So I think this Gateway project is an opportunity that we need to look seriously at. Again, it's something that's been suggested for a long time. And to me, it's something that not only could provide a destination facility for Kapiti Island, but be a facility that becomes a central point to tell the story of the history of our area, the culture in our area, who we are now, the environment in our area, the different attractions that are here. And I know there's some resistance to it at the moment particularly because there's a perception that we shouldn't be embarking on expensive capital projects in the current environment as we grapple with the effects of COVID-19. But what we've heard from economists and from the government as well is that if you think seriously about where you target spending and take opportunities for central government funding, then these kinds of projects can be an important part of how we recover our economy. So I'm inclined to take a serious look at it, of course, keeping an open mind and hearing the feedback from the community. But I think it's an opportunity that needs to be taken very seriously indeed, and particularly when we can get a substantial amount of the project, at least half, funded by central government. I know that iwi have been strongly behind the project, and as I said earlier, the area is of profound importance to local iwi, and just a real opportunity to tell that story as well. So, and it's another opportunity, the building itself, again, not too high, not too imposing, but an opportunity to express those stories. It's been described by the architects as a blank canvas. So it's the opportunity to expand on some of the artistic, design, cultural, physical elements within the park and in that structure and around that structure as well, but not be too imposing on the environment. So I think it's a bit of an opportunity, actually.
You didn't mention very much economics, and I've got a feeling that the reason that some people are calling it into question is that so many other projects, of course, fell by the wayside. They got waylaid by COVID-19, and the council attempting to rejig itself in these straitened times. However, I've yet to be convinced about the economic argument, Janet, in that it's talked about employment, and sure, there will be people employed building it. There could well be people employed staffing it, but not a lot. The thing that worries me is that the tourists going to Kapiti Island are limited and will be limited in the future. It seems to be a limiter on the potential economic gains that you can make from this investment. What's your view on that?
So, as I said just previously, the visitors to Kapiti Island only forms part of what this building would offer, and I wouldn't call it a building, more a facility would offer. It also provides a focal point for all of the attractions in our local area. And for those who say people won't be able to afford to travel anymore, a lot of our visitors are actually day trippers, and there's an argument to say that as people can't afford to go or aren't able to go overseas and potentially can't afford longer holidays, these inexpensive and simple day trips or short-term visits are going to become a really important part of our tourism offering, not just in Kapiti but elsewhere in New Zealand as well. But we're in a bit of a unique position in that we're already have a large amount of those people coming here for day trips and for those other visits, and we're really lacking somewhere. So they want to go to Kapiti for the day. They go to the Gateway and they can find out everything they need. They want to be able to do. And then people argue that we had the eyesight and nobody went there, but this would be a destination in itself. You know, even though you might not be able to go to the island, you can look at it, you can enjoy the beach, you can enjoy the park, you can enjoy the wonderful eating establishments around the area. And then you find out Ngāmanu's only 10 minutes away, so you might decide to go there, or Southwood's only even less, so you might decide to go there, or the new Mahara Gallery, which will have been built in a couple of years.
Getting back to the artistic side of things. Well done, done, Janet.
So I think there's I'm yet to I want to hear more about that on Thursday, and I understand there are going to be some serious questions around that. but I don't think we can write it off without having a serious look at it.
Now, the economic recovery that I'm sure we're all looking forward to, I've got a feeling you may have touched on a theme that I personally hadn't thought of, because going way back, the Kapiti coast was the playground of Wellingtonians in the old days when travel was more restricted. And that is an enormous market, and maybe the day trippers could be part of the economic recovery of this area. What do you think about that?
Yes, absolutely. As the famous song says, come up to Paikakariki in the land of the tiki where you spend a few days at the beach. Yes, it was certainly a tourist destination. And yes, I think that's something that could grow in the future, and something that we want to be supporting wholeheartedly. While I'm on that topic, I know Ngā Manu are suffering through not having had visitors through the gates and those ticket sales, and they have I think it's a Give a Little page, one of those online donating pages that you can donate to Ngā Manu. So I encourage everybody, and go to Ngā Manu. It's absolutely wonderful for a visit, and just one of the many kind of wonderful offerings we have. I think we've got so much to offer, and this environment that we're going into is a real opportunity for us.
And how else do you see the Kapiti coast recovering from what is obviously going to be a really difficult period of months, if not years, in the immediate future?
Yes, we know things are going to get worse before they get better. There's some argument about how quickly things are going to bounce back, or how slowly they're going to recover, and how long we're going to be at the bottom of what could either be what they describe as a V shape or a U shape curve. But one thing's for sure, and we've got very, very hard times ahead. So Council is looking at seriously looking at recovery. We had a briefing on it today, and of course there are three kind of tranches to that, and we've kind of added a fourth one, which is environmental, but obviously supporting businesses to recover. And there's a working group working closely with the business community to see where the pain points are and where we can support the business community. Of course, there's also social, there's going to be huge social problems, particularly in our lower demographics around Paraparaumu, Central and Otaki, and cultural recovery as well.
Can you see the Council playing a more active role in being part of the recovery?
Council will certainly be playing a very active role in the recovery, and we'll be rolling out how that's going to look over the coming weeks and months. And the portfolio holders within the elected members are going to be tying into that as well. So of course, I hold the cultural portfolio, so that'll be where my focus is. But there's a lot of work going on there, and councils across the country. Of course, this is where councils really kick in. So it's hard times, but we'll all be pulling together and getting through, I guess, over the next 2 to 3 years at least, until things start to return to any semblance of normal.
Janet, it's been a great pleasure talking to you. We don't do it enough. Thank you so much for joining us here on Beach FM.
Thanks, John.
Beach FM, locals talking to locals.